Hello everybody, this is Mitchell Provensal. I'm the program coordinator for Baton Roots Community Farm. We want to do a little tutorial today on how to start a little DIY home composting. A lot of people are wanting to do home gardens right now due to the crisis, be able to grow your own food, provide for yourself, and composting is a great addition to this. Composting is so important because it recycles nutrients from your food waste that you can put back into your garden to feed the new plants. So we're going to talk about 3 different types of systems you can use to recycle some materials that might be around your house. And yeah, okay, so the first iteration of this is just an open compost pile with wood. What I did is I got pallets for free, and honestly, I just put them together with zip ties. So pretty much next to nothing, I created this little compost bin. And when you are doing compost, one of the key components is mixing your dry materials and your wet materials. So your wet materials are stuff that comes straight from the kitchen. So any kind of banana peels, onion skins, anything that you use that's left over from fresh produce, you can add to this compost bin. And the dry materials that you need to mix in with it are like dried leaves and dried organic matter that can be mixed in it. If you have too much of either one, it's going to take a little longer for your compost pile to break down. It will break down eventually, it'll just take a little longer. Things that you do not want to add to your compost pile is dairy or any meat products and stuff with lots of fat. So if you fried something in your kitchen and you want to get rid of the grease, do not pour it on your compost pile. The meats and the dairies, they'll attract pests and rodents that you don't want around your house. They'll come eat the bones. Sometimes I have done like crab shells and crawfish shells, but I bury them down in it, cover it up with a ton of stuff so that the smell is masked and nothing's going to be digging through the compost pile. So how I started this one, I like to do it just straight onto the ground because you want worms and other organisms from the soil to come up and help break down that material. So what I started with was just a layer of leaves. One thing about leaves, unfortunately and fortunately, people bag up leaves from their yard. Normally leaves fall, and it's really good to leave them in place and be a natural mulch for the trees, and it helps build up the soil. But people like their beautiful manicured lawn, so they rake up the leaves, but it's good for us. I use these for mulch and I use it in the compost pile. So I started with a layer of leaves, and then every time I come and add some fresh green materials, I put leaves on top of it. So one of our partners, Chef Tracy with American Heart Association, is living in a place where she can't compost at the moment, so we connected and she's been bringing me her green material waste. So we have a bag of goodies here we're going to check out, and as I add some of these materials to the compost pile, I'm going to kind of create a layer and put some leaves on top of it. The ratio is about 1 part green fresh materials to 20 parts leaves. So if I put, just imagine like a handful of green material, I'm going to put like 20 handfuls of leaves on top. So that's just to give you an idea of what it is. So let's see these amazing goodies. We have avocado peels, we have eggshells, banana peels, onions. Coffee is a really good one. A lot of us drink coffee every day. Let's see, butternut squash, onion, apples, pineapple. Lots of stuff that is perfect. There's no meat in here, there's no dairy. Eggshells are really good. Just be sure to give them a little rinse out. Rinse the inside out so it doesn't have any residue that could attract some other pests. So add these materials, I'm gonna spread them out a little bit. take my leaves. And we'll cover all this stuff out. Alright, so we got that covered up with leaves. You can come and check this in a few days, maybe even tomorrow. Move stuff around and you'll see like heat coming up. Like as everything's breaking down, it creates lots of heat. A more advanced level, you could be checking the temperature, making sure it's getting, I think if it gets like around 160, it's breaking down pathogens like other diseases and stuff, and killing off weed seeds. If you don't have a ton of kitchen scraps, you can also use fresh grass clippings, which could be the green material. So you put a layer of your grass clippings, some leaves, and just like layer that like a lasagna, and that will heat up quick. And yeah, so once you are layering this stuff for a while, after a few months, you can come and turn it or move stuff to the side, and ready compost will be down at the bottom. It could be 3 to 6 months for that to be ready, depending on how you layer everything. And yep, that's a good start. I mean, this is so cheap and easy. I mean, I didn't spend any money on it. Leaves are free, people raking them up. The food scraps I already have. I'm not buying stuff to make scraps. Yeah, if you have any questions about this, just comments on the video. We'll be checking it and we'll gladly give you some feedback on any questions that I didn't answer in this video. All right, next we're gonna go to, I'll show you what. All right, so this is the original compost pile. And a lot of people like to use 2 or 3 bin systems. So next to the existing compost pile, after month, 2 months, you're ready to turn it. That helps keep it activated and helps things break down faster. You're bringing oxygen in it, so little organisms and stuff can breathe and live. You'll be super happy, and you're mixing the materials together as well. You can do a second bin, so as you're turning this, you can pour it into here, you're mixing it up, but then at the bottom, you're gonna have your more finished compost, which you can use and side dress your plants, your garden, whatever, however you want to use it. So then this would be your new pile that's still breaking down, and then you can start a fresh one here. So you'd be adding new leaves, new vegetable scraps, new grass clippings, all that stuff in this bin, and then just keep aging it, the second batch in this bin. So then this is done, and just keep going through the system. What I'm gonna do today is, if you're not interested in doing the kitchen scraps, you're not sure about messing with all the food and stuff, super easy way is just to use your yard waste. All right, so I'm just going to use the leaves today. Like I said, pallets are free. I'm just using zip ties. You can screw them together. This is just what I had super handy right now. So literally just tying this together. I mean, eventually these are going to rot. You can just go pick up some more pallets somewhere. Alright. So, for just using yard waste, I mean, I go make runs and people put out tens of bags of leaves. Honestly, all throughout the year. Oak leaves are pretty sturdy, so they will take a while to break down, but the good thing about this is that you just throw it on here and you just really kind of forget it. You can come and check the moisture level to make sure that the leaves are dry, obviously, so you want them to be wet for the fungi and bacteria to live and survive. They need moisture. So what you can do is kind of a set it and forget it kind of way. Leaves out. I So if I were just to leave these whole leaves like this, it could take probably about a year for it to fully compost. But what I plan to do is, as I cut the grass, kind of layer just the grass and the leaves in here, and it'll break down much quicker with a product that you can use around the garden. But this is a super simple way. You won't have to turn it as much. You don't have to worry about the food or something's going to attract some pest or animal. Just the grass and the leaves. It's not really going to attract much. If you want this to break down quicker, you could take a lawnmower over the leaves to break them up. Since these are full, big dried leaves, they're just going to take much longer. But if you chop it up, there's more surface area. And then with the grass chopped up, it's like the perfect cocktail for it to just really activate really quickly and start to break down. Also, if you have any questions about this one, please comment in the video. We'll answer any questions that you have about it. Just want to show this as like a simpler way to compost, but when this breaks down, all these nutrients from this are in this rich organic matter, and you just need to put some around your vegetable plants, your flower beds, anything, and you will totally notice a difference. It's free. It's not necessarily a replacement for fertilizer. You still need to add other nutrients and know your get a soil test and know what's in your soil, but I mean, there's nothing like adding compost to your garden.
Go.
All right. One last technique I want to share with y'all is just doing a wire or chicken wire compost bin. This is super easy as well if you don't want to use the pallets. What we have is about 3 feet high. It's like 2.5 feet wide, and just like on the other bin, in the other bins, you can use it the same exact way. You can use it with layering leaves and your kitchen waste, moving it up through. Why the wire and the pallets work so well is because air needs to be able to get into this. If you just put this in a plastic tub with no holes or anything, oxygen is not getting in there, and it's not fueling the microbes and all the organisms that need to, and you're just going to get a really stinky, disgusting mess. So the wire is good because air can flow through it. The pallets have slats in the boards, so air can go through it. But you do the same exact thing. You can layer the leaves and your kitchen material. Be sure to cover it up each time with more leaves, so everything's covered up. And then, or you can just do the leaves and the grassy material. What's convenient about this is that when you are ready to check it, you can, or you're ready to turn it, you can lift this whole thing up, pick it up, move it right next to it, move the materials, toss them, and then at the bottom you'll have some finished compost that you can use, or you can kind of just like lift it up to the side and see what compost is done underneath it. Yeah, if you're just throwing stuff in here, it could take 3 to 6 months, 9 months. The leaves and the whole leaves and the grass by themselves will take probably up to a year. But you're not throwing all this stuff into the landfill. Those nutrients are being recycled into your garden, and you're going to have healthier, nutrient-dense food because more nutrients. Your soil is going to be more alive and active and be able to feed those plants the essential nutrients that they need. And you'll notice once you start composting with your veggie scraps, how much less you're taking out the trash, how less stinky your trash is. Yeah, ever since I started composting, the amount of trash that I put to the waste is very minimal, and my garden is thanking me for it, and the stuff I grow is delicious from it. So if you have any questions about the wire mesh, this one's pretty simple as well, so we wanted to show y'all this. Just be careful because the ends of the wire can be pretty sharp. If you're using chicken wire, it's not as sturdy as this harder wire. You'll probably need some posts to weave in through it to give it some structure. But we got the more heavy duty wire that will stand up, and then once you start filling it in, it'll maintain its structure without having to put any posts or anything in it. So just know what material you're working with, and know that if it's not as sturdy, it's going to need some structure around it. Thank you for watching, and please ask us any questions that you have about these little DIY home composting.